Welcome to the Secret Keepers podcast with your host, Kareen Zutleger. Join us as we uncover the hidden thoughts, stories, and moments that help bring light to the healing power of truth and examine how silence can affect us mentally, physically, and spiritually. We'll also share profound stories, interviews, and transformative narratives to help release ourselves from the hidden and step into healing towards inner peace, joy, and fulfillment. Now, here's your healing strategist and host, Kareen.
Welcome to the Secret Keepers podcast. Today, I have Theresa Falvey-Hunt as my guest, and I'm so excited to have her here. And I'm going to let her tell you a little bit about herself.
Thank you so much for having me. I am a servant of God. I am also the owner of Illuminate Your Life Coaching, yoga, and retreats. So I do anything from life and grief coaching, helping support women move from grief to growth, and also creating safe spaces for growth and healing, not only in the yoga studio, but also on women's retreats, just creating really sacred circles, which I really love. And then I'm a cat mom, I'm a wife, I'm a stepmom. Yeah.
Well, beautiful. I love your mission. I love how you want to serve women, and that you do all kinds of retreats. Can you tell me just a little bit about what a retreat would look like?
Yes. So my favorite retreats, I do some that are outside of Wisconsin, and most of them are in Wisconsin, and they are about 4 days long, 3 nights up in the North Woods. And the North Woods is very sacred to me and close to my heart because my parents used to have a cottage up there. And there is something when you get up to the North Woods where you just you barely shower and you don't wear makeup, you don't really do your hair, you just get up, get your coffee, and you just sit and relax and just be. And the nature, like, I'm a big nature gal, and there is something that is just so healing just about nature, period. But up there, it's hard to describe. So what happens is we get together on a Thursday night and we just come and gather and maybe just set the stage for the our time together, and we get into a little bit of self-inquiry and some work throughout the entire time, and also just kind of getting clear about how are we living our life right now, and is it working for us, what is serving us well, what is not. And I love to use that word well because they talk about the well of ourselves, and like, how are we filling ourselves well. I believe that making ourselves number one priority is not selfish. It is like the most important thing that we can do, so that we can not only serve ourselves well but others.
Absolutely. We
Yep.
cannot pour from an empty cup. I heard this once, and it really resonated with me, and that was that, um, that it's like, well, you have to fill your cup. And when they said that you have to actually overfill your cup, because it's from the overflow that you're able to give, because you need to keep your cup full for you.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think as women, especially, when you play roles as mother, and whether that is a biological mother, a mother to an animal, just mothering other people's children, because maybe you're an educator, an auntie who's mothering other people's children, whatever that role looks like, we can tend to deplete the resources, if you will. So we really need to, find those things that bring us joy, uh, and document, if you will, all the things that bring us gratitude, right? Well, what are we grateful for? What are we grateful for in this moment? And then really visioning, what does the future look like? And what am I grateful for in the future that I already see coming and already know is coming? So that's beautiful. What I the premise of the secret keepers, right, is that, we've kept some sort of secret within us, and somehow it has caused an issue for us, whether it be from a physical standpoint, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. And so I would love for you to share with the audience just a little bit about your journey.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll have to say that it probably, well, I know that it started when I was young, much like many of our stories. And, I grew up in a household where I guess it would be per se normal growing up. But what I was seeing and witnessing around me, and also a little bit, yes, to me, is my father showing up in a very narcissistic way. Also a martyr, and he was a product of how he was brought up. Very, very aware of that. I'm glad at a young age, probably in my early 20s, I was able to see that, you know, and get that, because I think sometimes we don't get that, and that's very powerful
Sure.
knowledge to have. But I witnessed my dad was very volatile, very fiery, and when things aren't going his way, or even when we had like events that we were going to, even holidays, it's like all that stirring of energy stirred him up, and he became even more fiery. And how he was treating my mother was not well. And then how it would come out to us. He would never physically abuse us, or anything like that. It was me and my brother at home, and then I have two stepsisters as well, and they were not living with us. But throughout my time witnessing, I witnessed not only what it was like for my mom to be treated that way, and maybe how she put herself less than, and I think I took that on, because it showed up in my relationships. I didn't wasn't standing in my power. I was just kind of taking whatever I could get, and it wasn't healthy relationships.
Sure.
And also, my dad had a lot of expectations, so
Okay.
many expectations of
Mm.
all of us. And again, he had that growing up as well. He had a lot of pressure on himself.
Yeah, we model that, right? Well, it's modeled for us, generation after generation. Certain behaviors are modeled for us. And we also get to look at them and know that they were operating at their best, right? Their highest level of awareness. And so, we can look at those things and we can know that like these things help shape us. And now you have an awareness that's even higher than they had, where you start to go, this isn't really serving me really well, and it doesn't serve anybody else either. And so you're looking to break that pattern, that cycle that was laid out for you, where do as I say, it's my way or the highway kind of mentality. And then, where your mom played that role of being submissive and just doing, whatever to not make any waves. And I'm sure your kids did. Um, and then you carry that out into the world, and so you're shining the light on that. You're saying, this piece of this didn't serve me. I know my parents taught me lots of great and wonderful things, and this
Right.
part of not so good, and so we're going to tweak this so that going forward, it doesn't look like that picture anymore, hopefully improving the model, if you will, of what's going on there. Wow.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, the expectations were probably the biggest killer of my soul. It sucked. I like to say soul sucking. Some things in life, or many things, are soul sucking. It's important to be mindful of what those things are. And so then as I moved, into my life, I mean, it didn't matter what I was doing, if I was into dance or softball, the pressure was on always. And not to be perfect, but I just never felt good enough. And isn't that like so many of ours, like, belief and story, that get stuck. So, and then that didn't help when I moved into junior high, and I was, for probably about a year, I was bullied quite severely. And there was a time that I was in junior high and we had just gotten done with gym, and we were the gym, let's see, the locker room was down below, and then there were stairs that were going up to like a platform that would open up to the doors, and another set of stairs, and we were waiting for the bell to go off to go to the next class, and there was a bunch of us just waiting on that platform for the bell. And the gal that had it out for me, oh man, I had this feeling, because my back was faced to the stairs behind me, and I had this feeling where I just knew I needed to turn myself, because what if she pushes me?
Okay.
I turned myself. There was now a wall behind me, and she was starting in on me and whatever, and wouldn't you know, she pushed me. And
Okay.
had I not turned myself, she would have pushed me down those steps.
Mm,
I'll never forget that. And then
sure.
I'll never forget the times that, my parents, just my mom felt so helpless. My dad, he was around doing his best to keep, up with just doing work, the work of the family.
Okay.
And but how heartbreaking it was for my mom to just feel so helpless, you know. And there came a point that I had written in a journal that I kept underneath my mattress, and I did state in there that I couldn't take it anymore, and I didn't know how or why, how I was going to, but I did want to end it, and I did express that. And my mom, going through my room, grateful she did, she found it, and she read it, and that was hard for her to read that and bring that in for herself. But I got into some counseling, and that worked. And I think just other things, you go into the next grade, and things start to evolve a little bit better. I also was on an antidepressant that helped me, but also like not feeling good enough already from what was happening at home, and then that compounded what was happening at school. It really left me in a very, very low place, which makes sense that I wanted to just be done with this physical world. Um, Moving on from that, and as I started to get into high school, I knew that I wanted to help people. I just knew. I knew that I didn't want people to feel the way that I did, either whether it was growing up that, throughout life with the situation that I was brought up in, or, being bullied and such. I just wanted to help the greater good heal. And so I actually went to school to be a psychologist or a psychiatrist for a year, but found out that was definitely not for me. And then I began my journey of I became a CNA is where I started, and then the divine nudges began to come in. So CNA helping, I'm already starting to help. And I had this like download. I don't know what it was, a premonition. It's weird, but I'll never forget this either. Something within me just came and just said, if you ever get the chance to move out to Colorado, do it. And I was like, all right, I've never lived in Colorado. I've never been to Colorado, but okay. And I just kind of let that go. And then, like, I don't know if it was a couple months or a couple weeks later, a friend of mine that I went to high school with, she was like, I'm moving out to Colorado, and I'm going to stay with our friend that we went to high school with who's already living out there. And I was like, oh, cool. Well, that sounds great. And then, yeah. And then I just had a moment where I was like, oh, wait. Like, I had this thing that happened to me, like a download or a message said, you should just, just ask. Just ask. And so I did. I just asked, what's the worst that could happen? And they said yes. So we ended up driving my car out, and I ended up staying. She ended up leaving. But that was the first moment that I really was aware that I was being divinely led.
Sure. Yeah, and it's good to listen to the inner voice, right? Because I think so often we seek, external validation, especially when we can come from, an environment maybe where it can be perceived anyways as a little bit hostile. And so we seek that external validation. when we really, if we drop inward, it's where we're going to get the best answers. And, what I was hearing you say is you had this significant emotional event that had happened that really led you on a path of being, both mentally unwell, emotionally unwell, but you were able to, get some help, get some therapy. And that's, really important to mention is that, if you are a person who is struggling with any sort of physical or mental, emotional um, conditions, that you seek professional advice first, because what we're talking about here are these are our life experiences, these are our learnings. And it's important to see a professional for those things. Um, but you were able to like step right, move that foot forward and start to see, like a different thing for yourself. And then that also caused you to go inward and to really listen to what is it that I'm being led to. I'm being led to some sort of service, which um is actually, I don't want to say the word common, but it's actually, um it's a path that we can be led on when we've been through something really, life changing. We look at it and think, I want to take this experience and I want to help others with the experience that I've had and shorten the path for them, if you will, right? Because you took all these steps and now you can take all that information from your experience and you can teach it to other people, and they don't have to go through all those other steps that you went through because they can learn through you. And that's so beautiful that you were able to do that. So you went to therapy, but and you moved out to Colorado. What would you say was the first real tangible thing that you did that um, helped you on your transformation process? Because you've transformed. You're a vibrant woman running your own business, and you're not the the timid kind of martyr, real afraid to step into, and afraid of others' expectations, because you can't be a business owner and be afraid of other expectations. So tell me, what did that look like, Theresa?
It looked like, so when I moved out to Colorado, the world just opened up. I'm from a small town, we're not teeny tiny, but things are they're very different. And I'm grateful for Colorado because it really opened my eyes to a different way of healing and understanding myself. So
Beautiful.
I think I already began the journey when I was living in the mountains. In Colorado, I began to seek out like spiritual, healing and beginning trying to understand how I work, you know. And I think it was when I actually moved down to Denver and I became a massage therapist. And then I started like down in Denver, like there is wonderful spiritual communities um, that just open your eyes to different ways of healing and understanding yourself. And massage, you're not only learning just about the body, but just how we work in general, aside from the physical. And
Mhm.
I find it so fascinating how we operate. How our trauma in our life, the things that have happened to us, they show up in that physical way. And I really learned that when I went to massage school.
I
I
love
really
that.
I had a fantastic teacher. She is now like a friend to me. But that really began to open my eyes of like, you're not just, giving people a feel good, a rub, whatever. Like there's actually true healing that is happening because of what is stored in the body.
Right, every cell, right, every cell it stores its own energy, and it has its own ability to think. And so you are manipulating and moving that energy in a way that benefits and serves the healing of the body, which is why you go through such an intensive program on learning all the intricate things about it, because this vessel really is incredibly designed. It amazes me too. I'm so obsessed with learning about the human body and how it functions, because It just, there has to be a higher power. There has to be something designed this, because it's so beautifully detailed into everything of, like we talked about this significant emotional event that you had occur in that event, because every day that you had to face the bullies, that kind of, wired really well into your body, and you didn't have good coping strategies for that. And so it became part of you essentially, because the thoughts and the more the feelings, then the more that became something in your body. And then now you're going through massage school and you're learning, aha, I can release this. And
Uh,
then,
it was very fascinating, and it's ironic. Well, yeah, at that time I was also in a very, very not good relationship. So I was learning this beautiful stuff about myself and how to like begin to make better choices, and how to be really mindful and aware of what I'm feeling, right? I think it's important. That was the biggest thing, and that's one thing that I really teach is awareness. Checking in, not what is in your head, but neck down, and how the body is feeling, because it will tell you, it knows, right? And so, and it was telling me that was not a good relationship, which ended propelling me back to Wisconsin for a little bit. Um, so from there on, like, I just couldn't get enough. And then I kind of went more like God was divinely, every step of the way, even back to Wisconsin, even, I mean, into every realm that I began, working for a chiropractor and working at a factory, like everything was divinely led.
sure.
And I just kept seeking out more and more. I can't even explain all the trainings that I've done, but I've done so many trainings, online trainings, and I'd go to retreats in Arizona and follow spiritual teachers that would really help me understand
Mm,
why I was the way I was.
sure. Yeah.
I'm a product from what happened to me. It doesn't define me. That's the biggest thing. I always say the biggest thing. Everything is the biggest thing. But we are not what has happened to us.
No, absolutely not. No, it's part of that experience, right? Is we all got stuff. Okay? Nobody escapes the playground of life without some bruises and scrapes, and some of us get bloody noses and broken bones and those sort of things. But there everybody has stuff. But here where the rubber meets the road, and that is owning your stuff, right? Taking full responsibility for the fact that and seeing the beauty of the tapestry that's been woven for us, right? All of the things shape who we are in this beautiful picture, but maybe we can't see the full picture right now because we're not supposed to. Um, but when you project the blame out, if I continue to go, well, he made me and she made me and this made me and blah, 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 well, you're not going to heal.
Mm-hmm.
That healing comes from that acknowledgement of knowing that we are all imperfect,
Mm-hmm.
in that we are human, because we are here to experience, and therefore we're gonna make mistakes, you know. And so it sounds like you were able to you know do some forgiveness around that and move forward in your own life and choose a path that you wanted, which is beautiful. And the healing modalities that really resonate with you. I love chiropractic care. I've been going to mine for a really long time. He's my number one doctor. Like he knows everything about me, like everything. We talk about all the stuff.
Yeah.
So even though he's the tuner to my tuning fork, um, meaning my spine, um, my skeletal system, he knows everything about me, whether it's emotionally, mentally, whatever I got going on. We talk about all the stuff. So anyway, I love that you've chosen a holistic model for yourself. you had mentioned earlier, so um, you do massage and you are working through breathwork certification, which is exciting. Um, and if you were to take a look at like your whole journey, right? So leading you to where you are today, coming back to Wisconsin, and um, the healing process that has taken place for you, what would be like the biggest aha wisdom moment that you want to share with the audience?
Let go and let God.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. So when you say let go, what am I letting go of?
And I actually, so that's a coined term, right? That people like. I don't like to say actually let go. Letting go can feel very challenging for people, and I like to say set down.
Set down.
Set
Yeah,
down and, give it up.
give it up. Okay, I like that. Set it down and give it up. And okay, so in that, what you mean is what?
Trust. Have trust and faith that everything is unfolding as it should be. There is a greater, you know, power at play in your life.
I got
And
goose.
yeah, I mean, because, and when you don't know the next right thing to do or how this is going to work out, the beautiful thing is the path has already been laid. We just can't see it. It's not for us. It's not for us to see. When I was brought back here this last time, I don't know, 10, 11, 12 years ago from Colorado, I didn't know why. And that was a huge move. That was a huge leap of faith. And I asked him to give me a big sign because I kept feeling that pull. That was the biggest time that I trusted in him.
Mhm.
And it took me until how many years later, which I've shared, is my dad passing away 2 years ago. I mean, being back here all that time that I was back here every year, every day asking, why am I here? Why do you have me here? Why am I here? And just building my business. I needed to get my business to that good spot where I could come and go so easily so that I could support him and my mom.
Yeah.
And, you
Mhm.
know, sometimes or many times we make life just so difficult, right? Getting up in our heads and
Overthinking.
frustrated, right? We're frustrated. And
Mhm.
in those times, we're putting all the pressure on ourselves when it's not for us to know, maybe right now.
We seek that outside, right? We'll go back to that outside validation. We're looking for someone to affirm our choices and affirm our decisions. And the reality of it is drop inward, right? Drop in and have that conversation with you and God, your source, your creator, you know, divine, whatever it is that you call it. But dropping in and you plug in, you find that answer instead of looking, I call it Terminator eyes, like the Terminator, and I'm looking for everybody else to say, you're okay, or this decision is okay, when you already know. You can feel that in your body. When you make a decision that isn't in alignment with you, your body goes, sister, I don't know if that's really the right one. But we choose to ignore it.
Yes.
No, I got this. I got this. So that 5% that we were talking about this before we started, but so that 5%, right? Our brain is, it we have a subconscious mind and in your conscious mind, and the conscious mind only runs 5% of the show. So essentially, right, it only has 5% of the business, but it wants to do 100% of the running.
Yeah.
And this is where we get to like stop it and go, wait a minute here, right? And in question, like that I had this thought, and just because I have this thought doesn't mean I don't need to react to it, or you definitely don't need to have. I don't need to take action on it until I really, felt into it, and oh, is this sitting with me really? But yeah, some of the stuff we can do, right? We can think, oh, this is in my best interest. And then the opinion poll, what do you think? What do you think? What do you think? And well, but you came back here because you had a knowing. Your body had a knowing, and it led you to the fact that you were able to help and serve in a manner that you could have, you had no idea was coming for you. And I've been on that road as well. So tell me how you found, now how do you have joy and fulfillment in your life now?
Present moment awareness.
I love that.
It's the thing that I teach the most as a life and grief coach is this moment it's the best moment, right? It's the best moment because we don't know what's coming the next and the next. So just simply being present with what is.
Sure.
And that can look even like I can feel joy and I can feel that I am moving through something challenging.
Yeah.
I can be with it all.
Yeah.
But I look out my window right now and I see the trees and all the different colors from the reflection of the sun and just appreciating the different greeneries. It's
The wonderment of it all, right? The beauty that surrounds us. And if we're not in that present moment, we're going to miss it. Because it's fleeting. It's like, oh, here today and gone tomorrow. Just, when we live in a state where we know the leaves let go off of the trees, right? They sit down and they know that they're going to come back. And, they're going to grow again, and they understand, and they don't question. It just happens. And when you witness that, right, and you spend that time in nature, which is so good for you, so therapeutic, good for your mental, emotional, spiritual, physical well-being, and so much of that. And I could talk to you all day, but for the sake of time, just please tell the audience how they can find you and connect with you.
Yes. You can find me on two different Facebook accounts. You can find me on my personal, which is a professional page. It's Theresa Falvey-Hunt. You'll see on that page a lot of life and grief coaching stuff and my retreats. Also go to Illuminate Your Life, which will be anywhere from yoga and coaching to retreats and other events that I host locally in Manitowoc and outside of the area. Also, I'm on Instagram.
We'll put it in the show notes. So
Okay, I'm having a brain fart. I think it's Theresa Falvey, or maybe Illuminate Your Life. Brain fart this morning. But in LinkedIn, you can find me via my name there. But those are my best. My website too. Illuminate-your-life.com.
beautiful.
I'm there.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you so much for coming on The Secret Keepers and sharing with us your journey. We do appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. What a gift.
Thank you for joining the Secret Keepers podcast. If you found this episode helpful, please give us a like and follow so we can invite you back. And if you just want more, visit CorrineZuleger.com. Remember, you're not alone.